Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Wednesday night reading through the Tanak. And we'll be reading out of the book of Nehemiah. Pick up where we left off last night. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, to Prophets of Awakening. We have over 1,000 videos so that you can look at, examine, and get the meat out of it. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that were given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our reading through Tanak. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms. We have some current events, some need to know information, and then we'll go into our Q&A. And then we'll read some chapters out of the book of Nehemiah, like I said, picking up from last night. Then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down and honoring you, praising you and believing in you. And we thank you for the wisdom and the knowledge that you have poured out upon us. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures. Oh Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not thy silence, but shine forth on our enemies with thy great power and thy great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay. Read the Psalms. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalms chapter 10. Psalm 10. It's a prayer for the overthrow of the wicked. Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetousness whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will seek after God. God is not in his will. Seek not after God. God is not in his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above, out of his sight. As far as his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursings and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is the mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the village. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, or forget not the humble. Wherefore do the wicked contempt God. He hath said in his heart, thou art not required, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to quit it with thy hand. The poor commended himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man, and seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever, and the heathens are perished out of the land. Okay? The Lord Lord, thou hast heard the desires of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their hearts. Thou wilt cause thy ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more be oppressed. Okay, so I was just shining a light on verses 12. And like I said, I showed you in the past how in Deuteronomy 32 how the Lord host Michael is raising his hands up to heaven to the Lord. And we know he done that at the Red Sea. He told Moses to raise his hands up, stretch forth our hands. And then we saw him doing it in Daniel 12. Well, this is what David alluded to right here, chapter 10, verse 12. He says, "Arise, O Lord God, lift up thy hand, forget not, forget not the humble." So, like I said, whenever he's like they ask him to shine forth and all that, it's when he stand forward, stretch forth his hands to heaven, because that's where his power is coming from. And so we see the same thing right here. But David is telling him to stretch forth his hands unto heaven, okay, to his God, to his master, to his Lord. Okay, anybody have any comments?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, so when you cry out to the Lord and humble yourselves, that's when the Lord will deliver you from the troubles that you're in.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. It's all about uh, knowing who he is and being sincere about what you stretch your hands out for. That's what it comes in. We looked at that last night. Nehemiah did it. We saw what Daniel did it. Ezekiel. Yeah. He said,
Yes.
got the heart.
Yes. Shalom. Yes, sir. And the main thing I look at is when he says humble. So you won't be um, boasting and bragging and thinking because I said this or I take self out of it and humble yourself because the Heavenly Father, the Most High, is the one who's going to deliver you, not
Right.
you doing all the quote unquote good things that you consider good. The
Right.
Lord of hosts is over all of it.
Right. He's behind
Yes, sir.
it. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I have some bad news. The US dollar is collapsing all around us. Many experts are saying that the US dollar is being devalued as we speak. It's because of the rising amounts of debt that the US currently has. It's because of the relationships that the United States has with other countries. And then just recently, this IT outage that happened from CrowdStrike. This is actually bringing back the idea of CBDC, the central bank digital currency. And many are wondering, is this going to devalue or completely collapse the US dollar? The answer is yes, it could. So today I want to address what's going on, why some are saying that the dollar is collapsing as we speak, and what we could actually do to save ourselves. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So first off, let's talk about the US dollar and why it is collapsing as we speak. First off, you need to understand what the United States does to ensure that the United States dollar, USD, is used as the world's reserve currency. Most people don't understand exactly why so many other countries are using the US dollar. And it's simple. It's because they want our weapons. They want our guns. They want our military. They want what we have. The United States spends billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars every single year to spend the most amount of money on our military. Why? It's not because we are protecting ourselves. It's not because the United States wants to have all the weapons, all the ships, everything here on U.S. soil. No, it's because we are providing security. We're providing a service to other countries. For example, Ukraine. You think Ukraine has all these great resources that the United States wants? In a way, yes, but in a way, no. Ukraine uses the United States, uses our military, uses our equipment, uses our assistance, our friendship. And what do we get in return? Well, Ukraine is going to, use U.S. currency, right? It's their reserve currency. The same thing happens for other countries. This is exactly what we've been doing for decades. It's nothing new. Without the United States backing up all these other countries, they wouldn't use the US dollar, because really, what does the United States offer to them? What are we doing? So that's just one of the things you need to understand. The United States is heavily in the wars with against Russia and Ukraine. Okay, heavily in the war between Israel and Hamas. Right, we're in these wars. Why? Because we have to be. It would be difficult to just pull out. That's why some are deeply concerned. Because again, keep in mind, we are essentially 104 days away from November 5th, which is our presidential election, where on that date, we can learn that we have a new president. Maybe it's former President Donald Trump. Maybe it's current Vice President Kamala Harris. We have no clue. It could be former First Lady Michelle Obama, right? Or the current governor of California, Governor Gavin Newsom, right? We will have a different leader. We just don't know who. So that's another issue as well. Here's another reason why experts believe that the United States dollar is collapsing, and it has to do with China. Just recently, Secretary Blinken flew to China, and one of the reasons why he went to China is because China is producing an immense amount of product. Now, a lot of this product gets shipped over to the United States, and we sell it. Right? It's cheaper. It's less expensive, which means that we can buy more of it. Here's the thing you need to understand. China is producing so much inventory, the supply is going up. Demand is staying the same. So when demand is here, but supply is up here, that means there's too much inventory, which means prices are down. So one of the reasons why the United States dollar is collapsing is because here in the United States, we aren't spending as much as we could be, because China is producing too much inventory. So guess what? We're telling China, stop producing so much. Yeah, just stop producing it, because we can't buy it at the rate that you're producing it, which is actually hurting our economy. There's another one. Our national debt continues to climb. This isn't anything new. We're at like 40 or $34.8 trillion or something like that as our national debt. It continues to rise. Well, guess what? It's making other countries somewhat uneasy. They're not eager to invest in the US dollar. They're not eager to invest in the United States economy, because they're concerned about whether or not they would ever see a return on their investment. We just don't know. One of the things that we have heard just recently is that many countries are trying to pull away from the US dollar. Just look at the BRICS nations, right? They're trying to create their own currency. They're moving away from the US dollar. And this is starting to unravel. More countries are joining the BRICS nations, the BRICS 5. More countries want to get out from underneath the United States. Guess what? Brazil, Russia, China, they are all providing another option. Previously, countries didn't have options. Now they do. And that is, according to experts, highly concerning. One thing we know is when we have high debt and high inflation, it's a killer to the US dollar. That's what we have right now. Our debt continues to go up, and inflation, the concern right now, is going back up as well. So we'll see what happens there. But here's the last thing I want to talk about. That's the central bank digital currency. This is something that I talked about just the other day, and I said that this recent IT outage has a lot of people speculating that this could bring in a new wave of support for CBDC. It's a central bank digital currency. And the reason I bring this up is simple. I had a lot of friends that were traveling last Friday, even Saturday, Sunday. A lot of them got stuck in airports. Many of them couldn't rent cars, couldn't get into hotel rooms, right? Systems were down. But what was troubling is you couldn't even go to the bank and get money. And the reason you couldn't go to the bank and get money is because the bank had the same system error. So what do? Well, if we had a central bank digital currency, and I'm not saying I support CBDC. All I'm saying is what experts are telling us is if we had a central bank digital currency, this could have all been prevented. But at the same time, it actually could have gone much worse. Because if we were all going with central bank digital currency, and that central bank was like, okay, we see that this system error is happening, well, everybody that has CBDC and uses it would have no money. Right? We couldn't access it. So again, this is part of the problem. But again, I bring this up because as we move away from the US dollar and the typical banking system, we could move more towards the central bank digital currency. Again, there's pros and cons to both, but one of the cons right now is how do we move away from our typical spending, our typical way of purchasing, and move into something that is more secure. But how do we do that without hurting the US dollar? As of right now, I don't know if it's possible. But the concern, again, is we have to continue to strive for something better, for something greater. Because again, as times change, which they are, we need to be ahead of those times. We need to be keeping up. We can't be lagging. We need to make sure that every single day we are improving at least 1%.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. I'm gonna have to do some more research on it because as we are listening every month or every 3 or 4 months, they're kind of changing it, adding with a lot of threat, and then lifting up on the threat that the U.S. dollar is crumbling fast. So I'm gonna do more research on it. But being that our dollars is not backed by any physical asset, how are we continuing to produce this money if we're not, there's no physical access backing it? I remember when Churchill was talking about the gold and everything. Now we're speaking on this paper money going into digital. Again, we all deal with physical. Now we're going to be dealing with something unseen. Like he was saying, people don't know. They couldn't get into hotels, can't rent a car. They don't have that, won't be able to use the physical cash, dollars. So again, everything's up in the air. You don't know if you have it or not. So available for you. If it gets to that point with the system breaking down and everything.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we got some Camilla Harris news.
Biden tonight will deliver remarks from the Oval Office on his decision to pass the baton to the next generation, embodied by his Vice President, Kamala Harris. The president's unprecedented political sacrifice has been met with party unity and extraordinary levels of enthusiasm from Democrats for the fight ahead. $126 million have been raised. More than 100,000 volunteers have signed up, and 38,500 new voters have been registered. And current number two, the other side, desperate and plain as day racist attacks on the de facto Democratic nominee that reveal a MAGA world in mega meltdown mode. They are trying to find ways to smear her any way that they can, from attacking the way Vice President Kamala Harris laughs to her endearingly nerdy love of Venn diagrams, and they are doing it with blatant and ugly racism. They're suggesting that a woman who spent 7 years as San Francisco's district attorney, who served as California Attorney General, a United States Senator, and is currently America's Vice President, is somehow unqualified for the job that Donald Trump once held. That she is only where she is because of her race. Again, unlike their guy who once hosted The Apprentice. Take a listen to what they're saying.
The only reason Kamala's in the White House is because of the DEI deal Biden cut with Bernie.
And of course, her whole history is DEI, diversity,
exclusion and equity. What about white females? What about any other group? It just, when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
Apparently, they feel, or a lot of Democrats feel, they have to stick with her because of her ethnic background.
Intellectually, just really kind of the bottom of the barrel. I think she was a DEI hire.
Maybe we should tell them it's working, right? Keep saying that stuff, guys. The comments reflect so horrifically on the Republican Party that House Republican leadership has reportedly begged Republican members behind closed doors to stop their racist attacks. Even former House Speaker Republican Kevin McCarthy spoke up to chastise his fellow Republicans. Here he is talking to NBC's Garrett Haake.
I would say two attacks I've heard Republicans give that are totally stupid and dumb to do is the DEI attack. This DEI, that seems like a petty. Look, I disagree with DEI, but she is the Vice President of the United States. She is the former U.S. Senator. These congressmen that are saying it, they're wrong in their own instance.
It's a bit more than petty, though, isn't it? Yeah, you know it is. Here's former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger calling it out for exactly what it is.
This is a disgusting dog whistle. It's not even a dog whistle anymore. It's an outright whistle. What they're saying is only white men are deserving of certain positions.
How did that work out, right? How'd your white man do? Today in a speech in Indianapolis, Vice President Harris stood above this fray, keeping her focus on the future and on the issues and the dangers of a second Trump term. Watch.
Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. The freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to live without fear of bigotry and hate, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to learn and acknowledge our true and full history, and the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government telling her what to do. In this moment, our nation, as it always has, is counting on you to energize, to organize, and to mobilize. We know when we organize, mountains move. When we mobilize, nations change. And when we vote, we make history.
What if there was a way to know if a stock will be bullish? In the middle.
The GOP, stoking racism in America as the de facto Democratic nominee, focuses on the future and what is possible. It's where we start today. With me at the table, former Assistant U.S. Attorney, President of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, Maya Wiley is here, plus Princeton University professor, distinguished political scholar, and author Eddie Glaude is here, and chief political columnist and host of the podcast In Politic for Puck, MSNBC National Affairs analyst John Heilman's here. Also joining us, MSNBC political analyst Erin Haynes. She's the editor-at-large with the 19th and host of the podcast, The Amendment. Maya Wiley, the vice president, is not engaged in any of this. She has proven herself already, not just in 3 days as the de facto nominee, but in months now on the campaign trail, has focused on a rather singular message. We're not going back. And her crowds are already chanting that.
Yeah, and there's a direct line, Nicole, from the DE&I attack to Project 2025, this blueprint that says very explicitly that it wants to go after all the protections we created in civil rights laws through the civil rights movement, through the 60 years, sitting here on the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. When you hear them say she's a DE&I fill in the blank, in addition to its overt racism and sexism, I don't say it out loud, it is overtly sexist and racist to say that by virtue of the fact that she's a woman and a woman of color, she's not qualified, because that's all they're saying, is exactly the same thing that they put in the blueprint as the plan for the country, to say we will undermine the ability of the federal government to assert and enforce and protect us from employment discrimination, that we will try to close and shutter the Department of Education if we can. But if we can't, we'll just make sure any of the complaints of our children, whether they're being bullied because they're Jewish, by the way, or because they're Muslim, or because they're Black or Asian or anything else, we're going to take the power of them to force our civil rights laws away to protect our children in schools. That is what was in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This messaging is explicit in that project, and what Kamala Harris is doing, both as a vice president, because I've been with her when she has made these statements as a vice president, as a matter of policy, and what she's explaining to the American public is we have a choice for the future, and it's either to be in the future or it's to go back to the dark ages. And I think she's making it plain and clear.
I mean, the only fight that's sort of underway is on the right? You got Kevin McCarthy and Adam Kinzinger, two Republicans, scolding Republicans, voices on the right, making this attack. Not only, I would guess, because it's immoral, but because it stinks as a political line of attack.
Yeah, I don't think they can do it, though. Toothpaste is out of that, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire MAGA movement is predicated on this not even dog whistle, on this grievance, on this sense of hatred, the sense of the demographic shifts in the country, that the browning of America, the idea that big government has put its thumb on the scale such that these folk can jump ahead of the line, the very ways in which merit is being deployed in order to, shall we say that someone like me shouldn't be at Princeton, for example, because it's precisely because of affirmative action. So all of that has been at the heart of MAGA since he came down the escalator. So the idea that somehow we're going to go back to the 90s and the 80s and do dog whistles? No, foghorns. That's all they do is foghorns.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Yeah, so we had a conversation. I brought this up yesterday about, I think it was the 13th of July. We had a conversation about, I was talking about how they was going to come out with Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama, and they was going to, just pull it all over the Republicans. So here go an example right here. What I was talking about. It's coming down the pipe.
Before we deep dive, all right, y'all, let's take a moment of silence for this small chronic break. Let me tell you the play. Before we get over to Van Jones and before I read the super chats, I would take this opportunity now that everybody is woke up. I see my people on the West Coast. Y'all in the building. Shout out to the more than 2,000 people that's in here getting it in. Shout out to everybody.
They ain't talking about this either. They got it on the radar.
Yes, in the building. Let me take this opportunity to explain to you the play. Anton, what play is there? It's just Kamala Harris. I see on the Republican side, there's a lot of people that say, oh, she's going to get wiped out. She's going to get destroyed. We're not worried about Kamala Harris. Now that Joe is out there, they all waving their flags and they running in the streets and they acting like it's a victory. But I would tell you that you need to slow way down. I just want to get to know you. Slow down. Slow way down. Back up. Hold your horses. This is what they're depending on. They're hoping. The only play that they have left is to leave you asleep at the wheel thinking that everything is cool. No, you gotta show up to the polls. Because you know what you're gonna see when you get there at the polls?
Check it out.
You're gonna see a whole bunch of AKAs, the AKAs. Shout out to the AKAs in the building. Let me give you all a round of applause. You know what the AKAs did yesterday? As I was gathering information in order to continue to come to you this morning, and report to you guys on what's happening and keep y'all informed like we have been all this time, right? To help y'all to understand what a money play is, what's happening in the news, politics, this is election season. So we've been ramping up to this morning, right? And I get all of these calls from all of my ladies. This is why it's important to have ladies on your team. You know why? Because ladies are the most dependable source when you're really trying to get down to the core of what the root problem is, right? And so I'm getting all of these calls. You know, I dropped the shows and I did the live streams and everything. I'm getting all these. I said, what's going on, baby girl? What's happening? How you feel? How you feel, baby girl? They said, man, listen. It's emergency live streams and Zoom calls happening all across the country. I said, all across the country? He said, all across the country. I said, let me go ahead and get my people on the phone. So I called this person. It was over there in this state. I called this person. It was over there in this state. And I said, why isn't the news reporting on this? They said, Anton, you are the news. You are the news. So my Akka, shout out to my lady Akka's in the building. I want to give y'all a round of applause real quick. As Kamala Harris was conveying to you guys about how she's going to earn and win the nomination, she leapfrogged off of the fact that Boulay was just a little bit over a week ago, about a week ago. And she showed up, Roly-Poly Martin showed up too with his little gimbal and his camera phone, and he was live streaming over there from Boulay down there in Dallas, and she had already been gathering support, right? She wanted to frame it in the idea of, hey, support the ticket, but she was really saying support me. Because last night they got on emergency calls and they started to mobilize all of the sisterhood. They started to mobilize all of the sisterhood and gathering support in order to get her elected, meaning that she's largely depending on AKAs, which I didn't even know that she was claiming to be black, but apparently it's convenient to be black now. And she was mobilizing the Divine Nine. Yep. Yep.
You ain't lying.
Plans to mobilize all of the fraternities and sororities and the simps and the ladies that's out here.
How to kill deadly bacteria in drinking water in 90 seconds. This simple.
You're going to see pink and green at the polls in November in order to try to get her elected. They didn't talk about policy. They didn't talk about whether or not it was going to be best for the black community. They are trying to get this woman elected off of identity politics connections and making sure that they can network her in. And so they're leveraging not only her affiliation with this and showing up in Boulay, they're also leveraging the idea that all fraternities and sororities in the Divine Nine is supposed to stick together. And not only that, y'all are supposed to leapfrog into that. Make sure you use your social media platforms and your connections and your influence all across the board in order to get black culture to then come in and elect Kamala Harris. Because if we've known anything in this culture, if we've seen anything over the years, is that the culture and black women specifically have more influence than we like to give them credit for. And so if we're going to leapfrog off of anything, then we have to make sure that we stroll to the polls. That's the slogan, stroll to the polls. I'm telling you what the play is. Okay. Mark this day, July 22nd, 2024. I promise you, I'm going to come back. And I'm going to revisit this live stream. And when y'all go to the polls, for those of y'all that want to actually show up in our informed voters, let me know what you see. Let me know if we're getting somebody elected or competing based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion and identity politics versus actual policy, versus evaluating whether or not she was successful in protecting our borders as the borders are. They're not talking about this on other platforms. And that's okay, because we here having a conversation about it now. When you see pink and green everywhere, strolling to the polls, when you see these simps that then say that, you know what, I believe in these other fraternities and sororities and we got to stick together in order to get Kamala Harris elected. Ain't that the same thing that we did when your old parents wanted to see a black president and so they elected Obama in office? And then y'all was disappointed when he didn't get nothing done for the black community. He focused all of his energy on the alphabet community. He didn't focus on the black community. Y'all gonna still get finesse like that? What I'm telling you is that it's gonna be a SIP culture, a black culture movement. You'll probably see Umar Johnson getting his speech together on Instagram shortly. You're gonna see Divine Nine, you're gonna see AKAs, and you're gonna see people that feel like they have to do it just because they want to make sure that they see representation inside of the White House. It's one of the reasons why she's there right now. Emergency meetings all over the country. We got to get Kamala Harris in office. Why? Nobody asked why. On none of these meetings, nobody asked why. They just automatically said yes. No questioning, no accountability, none of that. None of that. And then I have my fellas hit me up that's in some of these fraternities, and they said, Anton, I can't do this, bro. I can't vote this way. I can't say it out loud, but I can't do it because I can't go against the divine nine. And now you see why it's so dangerous for us to still be on code instead of thinking for ourselves. The one thing that you can say about us over here at the bag chasers, right? Because we're not as big as the Divine Nine, but we got at least 8,200 people inside of the bag chasers on Patreon. We got at least 82 chasers that love and rock out and support with us. So we got our own little mini army that's growing. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. And I know that you guys hit a like for the algorithm, for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel. I know you subscribe to the Man Boy. I know. Listen, even if you disagree with me, you can't say that I'm not entertaining and I'm not giving you the right information. So you should be sharing this with your family and friends. And I'm on the ground and I'm paying attention. And that's why it's important for you to not just be in the house. If you are a creator, if you are a person that's really a part of the movement and you're paying attention to what's going on, you got to be in the streets. You got to be on the ground. And so when I'm making phone calls and I'm making moves, baby, and I'm talking to the ladies, I'm trying to understand what's going on. What are y'all having all of these meetings for all across the country? I can't invite you into the studio unless you give me the information. He said, Anton, I want to come and sit on the black couch. I said, well, then tell me what the meeting is about. As long as you don't tell them that it was me. Ain't nobody gonna say it was you. I need you, baby. You are my source. We're gonna do a stroll at the polls all across the country, and we're tapping into all of the men that are simping for us inside of the fraternities to make sure that they advocate for and they advertise for and they vote for Kamala Harris for President of the United States of America. Am I off? Am I wrong? Call your friends up. Call your friends up and ask them what's going on. Call your friends up and ask them what's going on. Ask them if I'm wrong. Ask them if I missed on anything that I'm saying to you right here, right now. Ask them if I missed on any piece of information right here, right now. These women left their families. The men was over there with movie night.
Diabetics, be cautious.
Okay. Any comments on that? No comments?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay.
Shalom, everyone. I think we know why they meeting. They trying to put this in a wrap with a bow on it. So, you know, they trying to make sure they don't fail at this, and they letting everybody know that they're standing behind her. So we all know why they meeting. They was part of raising that 100 million within 36 hours. They was part of that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And like I said before, they ain't got nothing. You seen how they did with Obama. They pulled the same thing, but now they got AI. You ain't seen nothing yet. So those
Right.
Democrats, they dug a hole for this. I mean, the Republicans dug a hole for themselves because they was all cheering and pushing for Biden to get out of the race and bring Camilla in. And now they want to try to put the cat back in the bag, but it's too late. They had no idea it was going down like this, and the implications of it. Now they're trying to put the fire, and they can't. Ain't that something? Okay. So with that being said, I'm opening up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments about anything before we start reading out Nehemiah? We're gonna pick up where we left off last night, read a few chapters. Anybody have any questions, comments about anything they came across? Anything they heard?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah. So we go to Book of Nehemiah. Start reading out of verse. Start reading chapter 3. Read a couple chapters, then we'll close out. Okay. So you want to read, Michelle? You want me to read?
I can read, sir. You can read.
Go ahead and read chapter 3. I'll read chapter 4. And if we feel like read some more, we'll read another 5.
Yes, sir. Nehemiah chapter 3, rebuilding the wall. Then Elisheba, the high priest, rose up with his brethren the priests, and they builded the sheep gate. They sanctified it and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower of Mia. They sanctified it unto the tower of Hananel. And next unto him builded the men of Jericho. And next to them built Zakur, the son of Imri. But the fish gate did the sons of Hashaniah build, was also laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. And next unto them repaired Meremoth, the son of Uriah, the son of Cause. And next unto them repaired Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshabael. And next unto them repaired Zadok, the son
Okay,
of Benaiah.
hold on 1 minute. 1 minute. So what I want everybody to understand, what's being read is this the wall. This the actual wall that Daniel prophesied about. Let me read it right quick. I read it last night, but I'm gonna read it again right quick. So it says, like I'm showing you how we've been duped. So Daniel 9:25 says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and the streets shall be built again, and the wall. So what Michelle is reading is the wall. It's part of the prophecy. They're gonna come back from Babylon. Daniel in Babylon, and the angel Gabriel came to him and told him right around 69 years, because they're supposed to be there 70 years. He told him that they're going to go back, the Messiah. So if the wall is in Nehemiah, then the Messiah is in Nehemiah too. So what you're reading is the wall, and what I want to show you is, notice how it's saying next unto them. So when you look at property lines, a person might have 4 acres, 5 acres, and they naming that person the land they got there next to his property is some more property, and that's all the way around the wall that David built. That's what you read. All the property lines that's coming up to the wall that David built around Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 5. And next unto them the Tekoites repaired, but their nobles put not their necks to the work of their Lord. Moreover, the old gate repaired Je- Jedediah, the son of Passa, and
Right.
Meshullam, the son of Besadiah. They laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. 7. And next unto them repaired Melatiah the Gibeonite, and Jadon the Moronothite, the men of Gibeon and of Mitzpah, unto the throne of the governor on this side the river. 8. Next unto him repaired Huzael, the son of Hariah of the goldsmiths. Next unto him also repaired Hananiah, the son of one of the apothecaries, and they fortified Jerusalem unto the broad wall. And next unto them repaired Repha, the son of the ruler of the half part of Jerusalem. And next unto them repaired Jedediah, the son of Haramepha, even over against his house. And next unto him repaired Hattush, the son of Hashabaniah. 11. Machiah, the son of Haram, and Hashba, the son of Pahatha Moab, repaired the other piece and the tower of the furnaces. And next unto him repaired Shulam, the son of Halohesh, ruler of the half part of Jerusalem, he and his daughter. The valley gate repaired Hanan and the inhabitants of Zanoah. They built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and 1,000 cubits on the wall unto the dunge gate. 14. But the dunge gate repaired Malachiah, the son of Rechab, the ruler of part of Meth Hakarim. He built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. 15. But the gate of the fount repaired Shulan, the son of Kaholazeh, the ruler of part of Mespah. He built it and covered it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and the wall of the pool of Shiloah by the king's garden, and unto the stairs that go down from the city of David. After him repaired Nehemiah.
You want to pick it up? You can pick it up in 29. If you want to, you have to read all those names. Pick it up in 29.
Nehemiah 3 and 29. After them repaired Zadok, the son of Immer, over against his house. After him repaired also Shemaiah, the son of Shechaniah, the keeper of the east gate. After him repaired Hananiah, the son of Shelemiah, and Hanan, the sixth son of Zephlah, another piece. After him repaired Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, over against the chamber. After him repaired Malachiah, the goldsmith's son, unto the place of the Nethims and of the merchants over against the gate of Mitzcad, and to the going up of the corner, and between the going up the corner unto the sheep gate repaired the goldsmiths and the merchants. That was Nehemiah chapter 3.
So right here, when you getting into a conversation with somebody about Daniel 9:25, here go the hard evidence right here. This whole chapter 3 is talking about the wall that's going to be repaired in Daniel 9:25. So how can this be the wall? Jesus ain't nowhere around, you know, and he supposed to be the Messiah that's in that same verse, that same prophecy. So this is the wall that's in Daniel 9:25 right here. With you reading right here. All of this, like I say, is all the Israelites' property connected to each other all the way around the wall. That's what you read. And so another thing I want to shine light on too, which is something to think about. All these names that you hear, you see being pronounced right here. If you go to and Google voyages from they got the manifestos of all the ships that went to the West Coast and brought people over here. They got all the manifestos on those ships. All these names is on there. Was on those manifestos when they left the West Coast. By the time they got to America, they had changed the names. So all the people that was over here in America at that time, that was part of the 13 colonies, or however many colonies it was at the time, if they saw these names, they would have knew that they was Israelites on those boats. but they changed the names. All these names you read right here is same exact names that was on the manifestos on the. If you go to the voyages, Google it. Okay, something to think about, and it's actually something good to put your eyes on. Okay, so I'm in Nehemiah chapter 4. It says Nehemiah opposed and ridiculed. So, but it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we built the wall, he was wroth, and he took great indignation, and he mocked the Jews, and he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria, and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves, or will they sacrifice, and will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? Now Tobias the Ammonite was by him, and he said, even that which they builded, if a fox go up, he should even break down the stone wall. So what I want you to see is, notice you got Ammonite in here. So verse 3, Tobiah the Ammonite. So when you understand who the Ammonites are, they are a race of people that came from when Lot slept with his two daughters. One of his daughters he slept with, and they got a son, was Moabites. And then the other one he slept with, he got Ammon, which are the Ammonites right here. And so when you go to Psalms 83, you will see that the Ammonites are one of the enemies of Israel. So you want to understand that. So remember, when Israel was taken out of the land, the good fig was taken out of the land and went to Babylon, these people came in the land. They wanted the land. And so I want to show you something else too. Verse 1. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we built the wall, right? It's the prophecy. Prophecy coming to pass. Day 9:25. He was wroth, and he took great indignation, and he mocked the Israelites, right? Now look at what it says. Verse 2. And he spake before his brethren, right? He spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria. See that? And it's going over so many people's head. So what's the army of Samaria? Let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 17. 2 Kings chapter 17. Start at verse 20. So it says, this is when the king of Assyria came and took the 10 tribes out. He took the Israelites, the real Israelites, out. Right? It says, and the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hands of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Samaria from the house of David. So Samaria, see that? He rent Israel from the house of David. And he made Jeroboam the son, and it's the 10 tribes, son of Levi king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and he made them sin, a great sin. For the children of Israel, 10 tribes, walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and they departed not from them. Now here you go. 23. Until the Lord removed Israel, this is the real Israelites, out of his sight, as he had said by his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. Now here you go. We just read the army of Samaria. 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon. See that? These ain't Israelites. They brought men from Babylon, from Kirkuk, from Ava, from Hamath, and from Seraphim, and placed them. Look at this. In the land of Samaria. It's the army. They ain't Israelites. Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria, and they dwelt in the cities thereof. So this ain't nothing new. When I'm breaking down and showing you that there wasn't Israelites in the land in 70 AD. So it ain't nothing new. So right here, the people that's in Samaria that you dealing with in so-called New Testament, they ain't Israelites. They were brought there by the king of Assyria. So when prophecy, we looking at the same thing now. Now that prophecy being fulfilled, these nutbuckers don't want prophecy to be fulfilled. They're fighting against it on the physical side and on the spiritual side. These demonic ass spirits and everything, they fight against prophecy being fulfilled. So you shouldn't be surprised. So right here, we see what they're doing. Let's go back to Nehemiah. This army in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that they were building the wall, he was wroth. See, same thing now. And he took great indignation. We waking up now. They wroth, right? And he took great indignation, and he marked the Jews, and he spake before his brethren and the army. See that? The army of Samaria. These people he brought there, right? And said, "What do these feeble Jews? What do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they receive the stones out of the heaps of rubbish which are buried?" So look at today. We waking up now. They saying the same bullshit, denigrating us, thinking that it ain't gonna happen. But we got proof right here. We know what happened. They fighting against it. Same thing when they was in Egypt. They doing the exact same thing now. And what you have to understand, on the spiritual side, it's the same spirits. It ain't no new spirits. The same ass spirits that was right doing this, they're the same ones with the people today. That's faking as the Jews. Same spirits. Most I said that through the book of Enoch that when the giant died, that spirit was gonna roam the earth until judgment came. Same spirits. They came to the West Coast. You gotta understand that. So, verse 4, Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 4 says, "Hear, O God, for we are despised," see that? "And turned our reproach upon their own heads, and give them for a prey into the land, in the land of captivity, and cover their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee, for they have provoked thee to anger before the builders." See that? What builders? Daniel chapter 9:25. They building the wall. They're doing what the Lord of hosts prophesied. He says, so built we the wall. See that? And it's wall all through here, but 200, 2,500 years, the dots weren't connected. But it's right here in our face. He says, "So built we the wall." And the wall was joined together. Michelle just read that. Joined together until the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. But it came to pass that when Sanballat, Tobit, right, like I said, check it out, Tobit, the Arabians, the Ammonites, all these people was in Psalms 83. See that? Right? The Ammonites, the Ashadites, heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped. Then they were very wroth. So let's look at that. So, like I said before, I broke that down, but we're going to go there again. Verse 7, 4 and 7 says, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat," like I said, this ain't no metaphor or no parable, right? It's literal. It says, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobit," right, all these people in Psalm 33, the Arabians, the Ammonites, the Ashadites, heard, see that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth." So I told you see right here, this was literal. It ain't esoteric. Ain't got shit to do with being esoteric. So now I want to show you something else. The reason why you have to understand that this stuff is literal. So you go to, give me a minute. I gotta get this point across. So you go to Zephaniah. Let me get it. Okay. Go to Zephaniah chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 9. Say, this is the ultimate. Remember what just happened. He said that, you know, that they came out and let me get it. And it says that moreover, from the time that they were appointed, let me see where I'm at. Yeah. Okay, let me get back. It says verse 7. But it came to pass that when Sanballat, Tobiah, right? The Arabians, the Ammonites, the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up, and that the breaches, keep that in mind, the breaches were beginning to be stopped. Then they were very raw. Now we're gonna go over here to Zephaniah, and this ain't happened yet in the book of Zephaniah. Let me get it. Trying to get my pages right. So now I'm in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. For then will I return to the people a pure language. This ain't happened yet. That they may all call upon the name of the Lord. Serve him with one consent. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplements, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day shall they not be ashamed for all thy doings wherein thou transgressed against me. For then will I take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in their pride. See that right here? So we ain't got nothing to worry about. For I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride, and thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. And I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted people and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. For they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all thy heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Now here you go. Like I said, this ain't no parable or no esoteric bullcrap. It says, the Lord have taken away their judgments. He have cast out thy enemies. I just showed you the enemies were. The King of Israel, even the Lord, is in the midst of thee, and thou shalt not see evil anymore. So right here, 16. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thy hands be slack. Right? Now here you go. The Lord God is in the midst of thee. In the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee. Joy. And he will rest in his love, and he will joy over thee with singing. And I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach, right? See that? Whom the reproach of it was a burden. And behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her, so that's her that sighed, like we read last night with the 7 angels. Mark the ones that sighed and cry, right? And that halted and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. And at that time I will bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I will turn back your captivity before your eyes, said the Lord. See that? So it's the same thing over here. He doing the same thing right here when they came out of Babylon. Right? There ain't nothing we got to do. Then verse 8 says, that is Nehemiah 4 and 8. And conspired all of them together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. So we see right there it's an army. It's an army of heathens, the Ammonites. Well, what's in Ezekiel 38? An army of heathens, Gog and Magog. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Nehemiah 4:9. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto the Lord, to our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burden is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build a wall. And our adversaries, see that? Same in Isaiah, in Psalm 83, our adversaries said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them and slay them and cause the work to cease. See that? They're fighting against the prophecy. And it came to pass, see that when the Israelites, which dwelt by them, came, they said unto us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us will be upon you. Therefore said I, in the lower places behind the wall and on the higher places, I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked, and I rose up, and I said unto the nobles, and unto the rulers, and unto the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. And it came to pass, when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned, all of us, to the wall, every one up unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth, that the half of my servants wrought in work, and the other half of them held both spears, shields, and bows, and the harbingers and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. You know, get it in my eye. 1 minute. Okay. And they was building on the wall, and they was that bore burdens with those that laden, everyone with one of his hands wrought in the work, and the other hand held a weapon. For the builders, everyone had his sword girded by his side and so building. And he sounded the trumpet, and he that sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles, and unto the rulers, and unto the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one from the another. In what place thereof ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. So we labor in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, let every one with his servants lodge within the Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us, and labor on the day. So neither I, nor my brethren, nor any servant, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that everyone put them off for washing. So there it is right here. So like I said before, you can't read chapter 3 and 4, you know what I'm saying, and not know that it's tied to Daniel 9:25. There's something wrong if you do. Okay? Any comments on that?
Shalom. So in the last verses you were reading, like 17, they were saying that some were working and some were standing guard over them because of the threat that came about that they was going to stop them from building the wall.
Right. So go to Daniel
And
9:25.
even,
Daniel
yes, sir.
9:25. It says, this was so astounding about this. Daniel 9:25 says, Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. Now here you go, right here. And the streets shall be built again, and the wall, right? That's what we just read. But look what else it say. In troublesome times. See that? So what they doing? Building the wall with one hand, they got a weapon in the other hand. That's troublesome times.
Yes, sir. And by that happening, his daughters were also helping to build the walls and holding a weapon, because everyone, this is everyone. So the daughters were also, the women were also helping to guard, repair the gate, help the wall, build the wall. So they were also just adding in, because they mentioned the daughters, they were also holding weapons and doing the same. Correct?
What did I say? Where you see that?
Okay. We go to Nehemiah 4 and 17.
Okay.
I mean 4 and 13, 4 and 14 to 23. When they mention the daughters. Hold on one moment. 14. And and I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to them that rule the rest of the people, be not afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your burdens, your sons and your daughters, and your wives and your houses. It came to pass when out of the enemies heard that it was known unto us that God has brought their counsel to naught, that we return all of us to the wall, every one unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spear and the shield and the bow and the you can pronounce this word. And the rulers were behind all the houses of Judah. So here, 16, half held this, half was working, half was watching with that held the shield and the spear. So they were making sure that the work continued. And I guess they switched off. 17, they which built on the wall, they that bear burdens with those who laid, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. For the builders of every one had his sword geared by his side, and so build. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. They mentioned the daughters was also working,
Well, not.
and the wives. That's in and on 14.
Right. That's not what it's. If you go to 3, what Michelle read, you notice that when Nehemiah, even go back to 1, when Nehemiah went to Jerusalem, he had men with him, company of
Yes,
men with
sir.
him, and they went back for one purpose, and it's to fulfill Daniel 9:25. So when they get there, each one of these men, he telling them, fight for your daughters, and fight for your house. Each one of these men have a house. You got a house. You got daughters. You got sons. They're not with them, but they got a house. So he's saying, when what we doing on the wall, and the people that trying to attack us, fight for your family, because that's why we here. And we build a wall and we claim back, but they not with them. Because
Right,
no,
Shalom.
go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say something on that, Brother Leonard, just to make sure I'm thinking about this right. He was telling them not to be afraid. Each, like explaining
And
not to be
for your
afraid.
household,
Right, right. And to remember that the Lord is with them, just like
right.
uh Numbers chapter 14, verse 9, it says that the defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. It's the same thing as he is explaining here in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So another thing too, like I said, chapter 2. If you look at chapter 2, it says, "Came to pass in the month of Nisan," this verse 1, "in the 20th year of Artaxerxes, the king, that wine was before him, and I took up wine and I gave it unto the king. Now I had been before time sad in his presence." So Nehemiah is a servant. He's the cupbearer for the king. And then you go down to, so he made a request to go to Babylon, go back to Jerusalem. But look, notice what it says in verse 5. "I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servants have found favor in thy sight, that thou would send me unto Judah and unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it." See? So it don't make any sense to take no kids with him with children. But verse 6, "And the king said unto me," the queen sitting by him, "For how long shall thy journey be? And when will thou return?" See that? So he coming back. So ain't no kids ain't with him. You got men and him, they went back to Jerusalem, and then they came back to Jerusalem. They came back to Babylon. See what he says? "For how long will thy journey be? And when will thou return?" So it pleased the king to send him, and he set him a time. So he told him when he gonna leave and when he gonna come back. And the whole purpose was, like he said in verse 5, "I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me to Judah and unto the city of my father's sepulchres." So he sent him and men with him. And that's what Michelle was just reading. They went, each one of these men had a portion of land that was tied to that wall. It's all men that went back with him. See that?
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
see that it was talking about the house now in
Right.
14.
So each one of them got a house. They got houses which consist of their land and their property, their wives and their children. So he's telling them, fight for that. Right.
So they all went back to the area to build the wall because their homes are within the walls. So their
Right.
families are within the wall, but they will build the wall and their families will stay in the houses
No, the
because
family
the
is still in
wall had
Babylon.
got burnt down.
Yeah, they still in Babylon. Jerusalem is laid desolate.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to picture it.
Right.
They're going back to build this wall that was burnt down. They're leaving
Right.
their families in Babylon, and they're going to this wall to build it up where their houses are. Their houses are
Right.
within the
Yeah.
walls, correct? So
Well,
they're
you got to look at as the property just like today. You go to a gated community. Each person's land is connected to the next person's land, right?
correct. Yes, sir.
It's a wall. David built a wall and connected all that. So the wall that he's talking about in Daniel 9:25 is the wall that's around Jerusalem, but you got property lines coming up to the wall. When Nebuchadnezzar and the Chaldeans came, they tore all that down. And it was tore down until Nebuchadnezzar, to Nehemiah and them got there to rebuild it, which is fixing, which is completing the prophecy of Daniel 9:25. They were turning to rebuild the streets, the walls, just like Daniel said. Gabriel
So
told Daniel
after
9.
they got built, after the wall got built, then the children, the wives, and the daughters and the wives, and they let them go from Babylon, and then they came into the community
Right,
because the wall was up.
right, exactly. And that's it. That's in. If you go to Ezra, that's why I was showing you how these books are out of order. But when you understand what's happening, you can connect the books. So you go to Ezra. Go to Ezra chapter 2, verse 1. You'll see what I'm talking about. You got Ezra chapter 2?
Yes, sir.
So now, see this Nehemiah had men with him. They went back and he had asked him, let us go back and view the situation of what the Chaldeans had done. They ain't no longer dealing with Babylon. Chaldeans, they in the Medes and Persians now. So anyway, it says, here goes chapter 2, verse 1. Now, these are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity of those which have been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away unto Babylon, and came again to Jerusalem and Judah, every one to his city. So Nehemiah and them had went earlier. Now Nehemiah came back. Now see, in verse 2, Nehemiah with Zerubbabel. See that? Which came with Zerubbabel, Joshua, there go Nehemiah. See that?
Yes, sir. I noticed that they have Ezra before Nehemiah. So yes,
Right.
the books are messed up because that's how I
No,
was looking at it. I was looking the fact that they would have left and been inside of the community or
right.
inside their land, and the wall is being built up at the same time. But
Exactly.
how they show the book now, Nehemiah should be before Ezra and then Ezra after. Okay,
Exactly.
that kind of
So
stumped me because as I'm reading it, I'm thinking everyone was together
no,
because the way.
it's three when you understand what's going on. When they went into captivity, Nebuchadnezzar came to Babylon 3 times. He came first when he got Daniel, Ezekiel, and Daniel. Them he came and got that group first. He came back 2 other times, 3 times. So the same thing when they left, it was 3 different evacuations from Babylon: Ezra, Nehemiah, and Zerubbabel. 3 different groups came. It was like just, and so like I was saying, when you understand that, that's what's getting ready to happen with us. It was first when Nehemiah came back and they looking at the wall, start fixing on stuff. Then then Zerubbabel came. Then after Zerubbabel came, then Ezra came. It was 3 different excursions from Babylon that came back to Jerusalem.
Shalom.
Okay.
So when it came back to start building on the wall, that's when it first got burnt down. Then everyone 3 times they were coming to rebuild the wall, or they rebuilt it and they got burnt down again, or they got destroyed again. How many times did it get destroyed?
No, Nebuchadnezzar came the first time, and Nebuchadnezzar came and took the like he said, the good feed. You got to go back to Jeremiah. All these books. That's how you can line these books up. Jeremiah told them that Nebuchadnezzar was coming. They didn't believe Jeremiah. They did Jeremiah bad. Then Nebuchadnezzar showed up, and Nebuchadnezzar did what he told him. He took the good feed out, and then he took the seed of David that the Lord had chose. He took him, Jeconiah, back to Babylon with Daniel, with Ezekiel, Nehemiah, all them on the first group. But he left Nehemiah there as the king, and he made a covenant with Nehemiah. And so he went back to Babylon. Nehemiah tried to get out of the covenant. He had swore an oath with Nebuchadnezzar. He tried to get out of it by going and dealing with the Egyptians. He tried to get the Egyptians to give him his back. That's what brought Nebuchadnezzar back. And when Nebuchadnezzar came back, is when he took Zedekiah and took him back to Babylon and killed him and his sons. And then he came back again, the third time, that's when he sacked the whole place. And what you have to understand by that, that's how you got to see the Lord of hosts in there. He got Nebuchadnezzar by a yo-yo slain. If the Israelites at any point in their time, they could have turned back to him. He would have cut that off, but they got worse and worse. Every time the worse they got, he brought Nebuchadnezzar back. Until finally, the third time, Nebuchadnezzar came back and sacked the place and burned it down That's what we're looking at with Nehemiah. Nehemiah and these men coming back to try to repair what Nebuchadnezzar done when they burned down Jerusalem third time.
Shalom. Thank you. Now I can see the dots connecting.
Okay.
I'm more of a visual person. I don't know why, but I see it now. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And that's and that's why I continue to go to. You have to when you understand what you're dealing with. If you go to what I was just showing you in Ezra chapter 2, when it's naming all the people that came back with Zerubbabel. Well, Zechariah, Nehemiah, Obadiah, all of them is with Zerubbabel when they came back. So if Zerubbabel is the Messiah, and he coming back with Nehemiah and all of them, that's the man that's in Daniel 9:25, the Messiah. So if Zechariah with them, and you go to the book of Zechariah, that's who it is on the ass, riding on the coat of an ass. It's Zechariah. It's Zerubbabel. And Zechariah telling you, we on our way back to Jerusalem. It's a remnant already there. Your Messiah your king is coming, lowly, riding upon an ass. He's on his way back from Babylon. All that's part of Daniel 9:25.
Shalom. Yeah. And being that Zephaniah's book is behind all of this, way in the back, where how it can join up if it was Nehemiah
with the book of Nehemiah.
With the book of Nehemiah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is.
And those books are another thing you have to understand about that is they reduced those books down to 2 and 3 chapters and made them minor prophets. See what I'm saying? So it's all it's so much information that's not in these books. It's way more. The books were like Obadiah. What the hell would Obadiah write 1 chapter for? It's way more books it's way more chapters in the book of Obadiah than 1 chapter. They reduced all that down and constructed that. That's why they're not in order. It's all designed to take you to the New Testament. After they designed all that, after they created JC and plugged them in the Old Testament. Yeah, try to remember what, finagle the understanding, made it look like he's in the Old Testament. And so that's how they made so-called major prophets, which is Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah. They got major prophets, and they got minor prophets, which the minor prophets don't have that many chapters in their books. It's because they took them out. Because they didn't condense the story and then took out all the understanding of what really was going on. And they completely took out because that's the first thing you would want to know. When David existed, you want to know what happened to David and what David had to say about it, and then not only that, the prophets that was around David, like Nathan and Gad. Come on, they don't have no books. Yeah, they got books. They don't want you to know that information.
Shalom. So that's why, or I would say, I'm assuming that the New Testament is placed the way it is because you can follow it more because they have people who want to read the Old Testament and get the meat out of it. They have twisted so much, but once you try to read the New Testament, it's going in a flow where bits and pieces that they pull from the Old Testament brings you right into thinking that what you're reading in the New Testament is solid, which is not.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Right. And you could, like I said, if you don't ever, because it's all, when you understand who the Lord of hosts is, if he don't bring you to the place for you to get that understanding, then you ain't gonna get it. Because like I said, for 2,500 years, people been reading Daniel 9:25. They think they're JC. And once it's broken down, you can see it ain't none of Jesus. There ain't none of him. And so, like he says, our people, they stiff-necked. So it's being broken down right in your face, and you looking right at it, but you don't want to deal with it. You think I can continue to go on down the road I'm going on. No, he brought you to the place for you to hear that for a reason. It's on you whether you deal with it or not. But he brought you, you can do it all you want to do. But if it's meant for you to come across the information, he's gonna bring you right to it. After that, it's on you. That's where we at. That's where we at right today, is he bringing all this information out. And Negroes thinking they got options to do this and do that. No, he bringing you to the information so you won't have no excuse. It's being broken down.
Yes, sir. All praises.
Yes, sir. All praises.
Right. So like I said before, it's ain't no way you can't get out of it because it's being made too plain. Like I said, the wall. You're not reading. We ain't reading that like we supposed to. He's sitting there telling you for a reason. He said in troublesome times and the wall. So what wall? Ain't no wall now. Yeah, come on.
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, that's why he speaks about the fate of the enemies. You know, everything that they are doing to us and have done to us. For example, you explained last night, got these books all out of order and, you know, few verses here, there, few chapters here, there in these books, and everything is mingled up because they thought we weren't going to never be able to connect these dots.
Exactly.
We weren't going to be able to put it together and understand it.
Right. And that's right there in our face too. Isaiah, you already prophesied. Isaiah, let me read it. Because this is where we at today, where a lot of people don't understand. Let me see what my let me get my Bible. Okay, so I'm in Isaiah 44. And like I said, they way off on something else because you trying to follow a narrative in the New Testament, which don't have nothing to do with you. So in Isaiah 44, right, it says, 44 says, "Yet hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus says the Lord, that made thee, formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel, whom I have chosen." Here you go. "For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon dry ground." That's where we was at till recently. "And I will pour my spirit upon thy seed." See that? Not the whole world. "And my blessings upon thy offspring, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by a water course." And then here we go. You can see this on YouTube all over the place. "One shall say, I am the Lord's." Not Jesus. "I am the Lord's. And another shall call his name by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel." That's where we at. So he's waking up. So he's going to bring you to the information. It's on you. You want to be a nut bucket, and you know, it's on you. But he's going to bring you to the information. And we see him doing this all through the scriptures. Let's go to another place. Ezra. Ezra chapter 1. It says, this is the prophecy. This is the fulfillment of Daniel 9:25. The real fulfillment. It says, "Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation." This is the commandment. He made a commandment throughout all the kingdom and put it in writing, saying, "Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he have charged me to build him a house." That's Daniel 9:25 all day. "Build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Who is among you? Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build the house of the Lord." It's fulfilling Daniel 9:25. "Build the house of the Lord God of Israel, He is the God. See that? He is the God which is in Jerusalem, not Jesus. He the God that's in Jerusalem. So then you get to I got videos on this on the channel, verse 8. Even these the Cyrus, king of Persia, bring forth for the hands of Mitra, the treasurer, numbered them under Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. So he got a Chaldean name, but he's the prince of Judah. And you come to find out that's Zerubbabel. That's the Messiah out of David lineage. He's the Messiah right here. But not, this is the part I want to show you. Verse 5. What I just read in Isaiah chapter 44, 1 through 5, he poured the Spirit out on the Levites. With understanding, those are the ones that spreading this, getting understanding and spreading it all over to the Israelites. So same thing right here. Ezra chapter 1, verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priest and the Levites, which with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. This is another answer to what I just read in Nehemiah, that it was men. He says, priests, Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Judea. So it ain't nothing new under the sun. Same thing is being done in Isaiah right now. Isaiah chapter 44. He's raising the spirit of the men that he wants to reveal this information to, and they distributing it. It's on you, whether you know where you at, whether you deal with it or not. But it's gonna be distributed, and it's for, like he said, the seed and the offspring that it's gonna fall on, that's gonna deal with it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And chapter 2, Brother Leonard, I was just kind of reading over that. Some of the names are spelled different, but these names that are in Ezra chapter 2 is the same names that was in Nehemiah chapter 3 that I was reading.
Right, exactly, right.
Oh,
right,
my goodness.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
Because that's who came back. That's the remnant. Same thing for the happen. Same thing for the happen now.
Right.
It's a remnant going back.
Same ones returning. Okay. Yes, sir.
And like I said before, when you examine it, you're gonna find out Nehemiah, Zechariah, all the minor prophets came back with back from Babylon with Zerubbabel. Priest. Ain't that something? So when nothing new under the sun. The same thing is happening now.
Yes, sir.
Right. Ain't that something? Yeah, let me deal with this too. It's keep on popping up in my head. Because we was reading this last night and I didn't necessarily deal with it, but I'm gonna get it. We got enough time for me to deal with it. I'm in Nehemiah, right? Put this on the records. So to show you this right here about this lost, so-called lost tribe, 10 lost tribes. So it says, I'm gonna start at Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the word of Nehemiah, the son of Hilkiah, and it came to pass in the month of Chesim in the 20th year, as I was in the Shushan palace, that Hanau and one of my brethren came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that were escaped, which were left in the captivity concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, here you go. They said unto me, the remnant that was left of the captivity there in the providence. See that? In the providence or in great affliction. So what providence? Jerusalem. So you say, what are you talking about? Nebuchadnezzar was ruled over 172 providences. Jerusalem is one of the providences. So you say, what you talking about? Well, Sennacherib took the 10 tribes to Assyria. That's one of Nebuchadnezzar's providences. Then Daniel Ezekiel and all them is in Shushan in the palace. Let me show you. You go to Daniel, book of Daniel right quick. So you go to Daniel. Well, let me see. Okay. I think it's verse chapter 7. Says, let me get it. It's all over the place. I'm just going to 7. It says, here you go, chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, said Daniel had a dream and a vision in his head upon his bed. Let me see where it says. No, wait, go to 8. Get 8. Let me see. Yeah, here you go. It says, in the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto Daniel, about that which appeared unto me at first. And I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was in Shushan. See that? In the palace, which is in the province. See that? Province of Edom. So Nebuchadnezzar got 172 provinces. So all the Israelites under Nebuchadnezzar control. Because once Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Judah, he destroyed the Syrian army because of those 7 angels came with him and fought for him. Nobody didn't think he was going to win, but it was already prophesied. And those Michael and those other 6 angels went and he defeated the Syrian army. So the Syrians got the 10 tribes. So now Nebuchadnezzar got all the Israelites, the 10 tribes that's in Assyria. That's what the book of Tobit all about. That's what Esther all about. And then he got the southern kingdom under his control in Shushan, in the palace, in the province. So now Ezra came. Cyrus come and conquered Nebuchadnezzar. Now Cyrus got control of all the Israelites. Now look what he say. I didn't went over this before. So he says, chapter 1 of Ezra. Now, in the first year of Cyrus had conquered the Babylonians. Nebuchadnezzar had 172 provinces. He had all the Israelites with him. It says, now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, all 172 provinces, right? And he put it in writing, saying, thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, Lord of hosts, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Now here you go. 3. Who is there among you of all? See that? Not the southern kingdom. He got control of all of his life. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build the house of God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. See that? So he talking to all the Israelites. All of them is under his commandments, under his own. He got control of all 72 provinces. Assyria is one of the provinces. That's what the 10 tribes there. Shushan, the palace, the province of Edom is another one. What Nehemiah had. They in a province. They all under Nebuchadnezzar's control. And Cyrus conquered him. Cyrus got control of all of them. So right here, Daniel 9:25 is being fulfilled in Ezra chapter 1. So, like I said before, like they got their finger in your ear when it comes to JC in the New Testament. They got their finger in your ear when you talking about the lost tribes, and they got their finger in your ear when you telling you about the 400 years. When that's Genesis chapter 14 and 15, they're talking about Egypt. They ain't talking about no America. Like I said before, just like I broke that down when he said you're gonna return. He talking to Abraham. Abraham in the land of Canaan. He said they're gonna go into captivity, and the people gonna do them bad for a certain amount of time, and then they're gonna come out with great substance. That happened in Egypt. Then the kicker is you're gonna come back here. Where Abraham at? He in the land of Canaan. They're gonna come back here because the time of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. Where the Amorites at? They in the land of Canaan. Who killed them? Moses, Joshua, and Caleb killed the Amorites. Ain't no Amorites over here. That's garbage. Okay. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here we go.
It's an unprecedented day. And let me tell you what Auntie's got to say. I got something I want to yell. My dream team is coming. And Michelle. Ring the bell, ring the bell. Yes. Kamala and Michelle. Yes. Want this country to go to hell. Kamala and Michelle.
Okay. Shalom. Shalom and another shalom.
And
Shalom, shalom,
everyone.
everyone.